Right.
Okay, so just to let you know, we are being recorded. Like I said, we're going to start the session now. I just wanted to say hi.
Ah,
I am going to be looking over to the side. I've got just my phone and my book here. These are resources that I'm using just so we can get the most out of our sessions.
Okay, cool. All right.
Alrighty. So getting
Okay.
started, Soraya, we're going to be focusing on wellness and nutrition in these sessions over the next 6 weeks.
Okay.
Perfect. So for
Perfect.
me, wellness is defined as finding your maximum potential.
Okay. All right.
Okay, so wellness is about finding how you can operate and find the easiest way and the best way for you according to your routines, your habits, your needs to find most potential and the most out of your life. I think we
All
all
right.
want that, right?
Yeah.
Gimme, gimme, gimme. I'll take,
Yeah.
yeah, I mean, that's why we're here. We're here to experience this,
Mm,
on a spiritual level, on a physical level. We're here to experience life, good and bad, because without the good, we can't recognize the bad, and without the bad, we can't recognize good.
right. Okay.
Just
Mm.
like the light and the dark, like the yin and the yang, so to speak.
Yes, I was just thinking about the yin and yang now.
Yes.
Yeah.
It is like if we had only lightness, how would we appreciate that lightness in our life? Because we didn't know a latter.
Yes. Okay.
Unfortunately, sometimes we do get a bit more of the one than we would like, but that's about that's how we use skills in our life to make good choices and to try and redirect ourselves in the direction that we want to see our life heading in. Does that make sense?
Mm. Yes. Yeah.
Beautiful. Okay. So we do that by setting healthy lifestyle goals. This could be fitness, eating, how much stress we have in our life,
Mm.
um, or even just who's in our life. So what relationships do we have? Are we honoring our goals and what we want out of our life by bringing the right circumstances, the right people, the right support into our space? Because if we don't have that support, we can have as many goals as we want, but it's going to be running up an upward hill, if you're understanding what I'm saying.
Yes.
Perfect. So, consistent self-care is one of the big aspects of living a well and good life with good nutrition, is consistent self-care. So, I'd like to dive into that idea of self-care with you. What, if you could give me an example of what a self-care for yourself would be?
Okay. So
And there's no
I've
right or wrong
recently.
answers. Whenever I ask you a question, sorry to interrupt you, there's absolutely no right or wrong answers. Okay.
Mm. Okay. Okay, cool. So I think with me, self-care, I think initially a few years back, I thought that self-care was only sort of going to the gym and like, doing skincare and like making sure that your hair is looking nice and sort of dressing yourself well and that sort of thing. I thought that self-care was just that, like purely that. But I think as time went on, I started to realize that self-care to me is more like sort of if I were my own parent and I was my child, how would I want to parent myself on the daily to make sure that I'm on the right track or getting things done? So it's like sort of making the right decisions, taking time to think for myself, taking time to just be on my own, breathing exercises, yoga, eating correctly, making sure that maybe certain decisions like going out and excessive drinking might not be a good thing. Like, talking to myself constantly and saying, this like if you were your own child and you were a parent to this child, would you be happy with your child doing this thing? No.
Mm.
And then I just sort of don't do that. So that's kind of what self-care has become for me now.
Beautiful. It seems like you have a really good idea of what self-care is, and also not only what self-care is, but what is self-care for you? Because again, self-care for me might be something that completely fills my cup, whereas for you,
Mm,
it's something that doesn't. So we have to
mm,
figure out again, what are those things that do empty our cups, and what are those things that do fill our cups? and how do we implement a balance between both in our lives?
Right.
Beautiful. Well done. Beautiful.
Okay.
So we all looking for a bit of an improved quality of life. Is that kind of what you're here for as well?
Yes. Yeah.
Yeah, more wellness, a bit of improved quality of life, a bit of a understanding on the direction on how to get there. Because that's
Mm,
easy. We can
mm,
all say, I want a better life. Yeah, we all want a better life. But what are we going to do to get there? And how much effort are we willing to put into that?
mm, mm.
Beautiful. So we need to look at positive approaches to your current lifestyle and look at the ways that you feel that you want to gain and perhaps places where you are not performing as well and that you would like to address ways to improve. I don't know if performance is the right word, but specifically between, fitness and nutrition and that sort of thing. Not so much
Right.
your own personal emotions. I would never put
Right.
performance into those words, but I'm talking about
Yes.
more like, are we eating right? Are we going to the gym a certain number of times a
Mm,
day or a week or a month? Or, what are those specific things for good living that we implementing into small habits that are becoming atomic habits throughout our life.
mm. Right.
Because they say that the way we do one thing is the way we do many things. So the way we do something small, we will apply that same mentality and that same method into doing something big.
Right. Okay. Yes, I'm
Makes sense.
following.
So that means that when we are making a cup of tea, we do it, say, mindfully.
Mm,
We're not thinking Facebook, social media. We there. We in that, putting that sugar into the tea. We stirring. We enjoying the color changing. I know it's small things, but again, the way we are present in our small things allows us to be present in the big things.
right. Okay. Yeah. That's actually, it's very interesting that you said that because this is something that my mom brought up to me that from the time I was little, and I still find myself doing this now, even when I try not to, it's just so like ingrained in me, that when I'd be so excited for like an event or something that's coming up, and then like all I can talk about is when this happens, when this happens. So
Mhm.
even the little things or the little wins that are taking place from now to the event date, even when that's happening, I'm still focusing on that next thing that's happening, right? That thing. I'm waiting for that I'm missing all the stuff in between. And then even on that day of the event, now that it's there, all I can think about is the next thing. Now,
Mm.
but after this, there's something else that's coming. So I've never when I think about it now, I've hardly ever been really truly present in moments. And it's only something that I've realized recently because when I look back, things have just passed by. And obviously I'll do things in that sort of situation that I'm in, but I'm half there because I'm only thinking about what's next, what's happening next. And I'm not like living mindfully, basically. So
Okay.
it's very interesting
So,
that you brought
so
that up.
being present is something that you would like to work on then.
Yeah,
Being in the
definitely.
moment. Yeah, let's just write that down. As we talk about these things are going to come up for us. And I think that's a big thing because how do we appreciate, like you're saying, where we are if we are looking to the other side? And there's that very old saying of the grass is always greener on the other side. I don't know if you heard that
Mm.
one. And it can come
Yes.
down to, especially with South Africans wanting to immigrate, the grass is always greener on the other side.
Mm,
But
mm,
really, the end of that saying that's never said is the grass is greenest where you water it.
right. Yes.
So
Yes,
yes,
that's true.
if you're thinking, oh, next week, and I'm putting all my positivity and all my energy, yes, it's going to be really
Yeah,
green there. And you're always going to be looking to that next thing because that's where your energy
yeah,
and positivity is going. But
yeah.
if you're saying, okay, I understand that there are other things going on, but right now I'm in this patch and it's looking a little bit dry. I'm gonna water it
Mm,
here because I honor where I am, because I want to be in this moment presently and fully.
right. Yeah. And that's another good point that you brought up when you're
Mm,
saying about South Africans wanting to move away.
mm,
2 days ago, I spoke to my stepdad telling him, I think I need to leave South Africa for a little bit.
Mm.
I'm just feeling so stagnant here. But again, that's me now thinking it's going to be better somewhere else later on, instead of me just thinking, how can I make things great now in this
Yeah.
moment? How can I just appreciate things right now?
So you stagnant. Would you just expand on that word, that definition for you, what being stagnant in your life
So,
currently means? Because I feel that that's being present and being stagnant or feeling stuck is something we could work on in these sessions as well.
so being stagnant, how I've been feeling is sort of like when I look back at, let's say, the past 2 years, I've been doing things. I've been doing stuff like I was on radio, I was a radio presenter, I'm now doing the pageant.
Mm.
I've done stuff. So it's not like I haven't been doing anything. I did, there was a modeling thing that I was doing. I did pole dancing classes. I was like, I'm trying to do stuff to sort of expand my knowledge and also get to know myself better and do creative things. But when I look back on the last 2 years, because obviously this year is kind of coming to a close now, and I'm looking back at everything that I've done this year, last year, and a little bit of the year before, and I feel like there hasn't been sort of enough growth. Like I'm still sort of stuck in the same habits. I'm still falling back into the same negative patterns, even though I might pull myself out of it into sort of like almost like a manic episode that'll go on for like 2 weeks or so, and then I'll just get burnt out. I'm still falling back into like very negative patterns. So I'm feeling stagnant in that sense that there hasn't been enough growth mentally. Like maybe financially I made some money here, or my social status sort of went up a bit because I did a certain job, so there was growth there. But in here I'm still falling into these very negative thought patterns that I tried to get myself out of by doing those jobs and stuff. So when I was speaking about moving away, I was sort of thinking that I'm coming to a point, which is, it's been feeling very weird, because I'm coming to a point in my life now where for the past 3 or 4 months I've been feeling like there's this potential of growth that I can reach. I've been feeling like it's there. Like I'm getting that energy, I'm getting that drive, and it's been consistent for the past 4 months or so. I've been feeling that like I can do this, like I can do something. I want to do something. I feel like I'm ready and I'm not scared. But there's limiting beliefs in myself that I have that I feel like is kind of, well, obviously it's dependent on myself at the end of the day because I'm allowing myself to feel that way. But it's also like sort of the community that I live in currently, besides for my parents, they're very unsupportive. So when you start doing things, people try and find every way to stop that. They try and find every way to make it difficult for you. They wouldn't help you. And no man is an island. So it is very difficult to sort of reach certain goals when it's sort of social stuff that you need the help of other people to get together and sort of reach this goal with you. Like, because
Mm.
it's like, okay, look, with this pageant, I have to raise money for a cause that they have. And then a lot of these local businesses are like, they just don't, in fact, they give you this sort of talk of like, why are you even doing this? Like just don't do it, like that sort of thing. Like people are really unsupportive in my community.
Mm.
So I like I'll do it one day and then I'll forget for like 3 days, and I'll be like, oh wait, now I need to go and do it again. So I think now that you're giving me this task, I'm gonna learn the consistency of like journaling and the self-reflection. And I think I've also been afraid of journaling
Mm.
because I'm scared of putting my feelings onto paper and actually looking at it and like, oh my gosh, I actually feel like that. They actually made me feel like that, because I'm really acknowledging it to its fullest when you look at it on paper.
Yes,
And it's
that's what I wanted to
scary
say
to
when we
me,
spoke about
but
that
it's,
box. It's easier to take our fears and all the things that are getting us down and put it into the
yeah,
box and then close the lid and sit on it.
yes, yes, yeah,
But now someone's come and said,
exactly.
okay, let's open that box up and let's start to actually pull some of those things out. And yes, that can make us uncomfortable and it can be
Yeah.
difficult. And we will find resistance from ourselves. And this is where we have to learn to remember that sometimes the body wants something and the mind wants something else.
Mm,
And you have
yeah.
to keep your goals in mind and understand that you may not like yoga. You may not feel like doing yoga or meditating every day, But
Yeah.
in the end, your body will appreciate it. Even if your mind wasn't able to get into that practice, it wasn't really there. By the time you get there, your body follows. So sometimes when you're
Mm.
battling with your consistency and when you're battling and you're looking at a blank page, I'm just going to ask you to just start drawing little doodles on that page. So just bring some of your energy onto that page. And if all you can write for that day is having a difficult day, I wrote this down. I came here. It's a hard day for me today. I'd be happy with that
Mm. Mm.
because you're showing up for yourself. And every day doesn't have to be a full moon. Some days we have a half
Mm.
moon, some days it's a quarter moon, some days we show up and it's a full moon.
Mm.
But we show up as we can in that day, not feeling I'm not good enough. I can't do this well enough, so I'm not going to. I'm just going to do it to the best of my ability and accept, because self-acceptance is something that you also got to work on. Once we figure out what it is you want and what's important to you, we've got to learn a way for you to be able to accept that you deserve those things in your life and that you are willing to fight for them. And anybody that doesn't see what you need in your life isn't worthy of your time and energy.
Yeah, that's very true.
Amazing. So we want to also map where we currently are. And you've mentioned this. We want to map where we're currently feeling, and we want to feel like a then if statement. So if I had this happen, if I reached this goal, then how would I feel? So, for example,
Mm.
if I was able to find that passion and find exploring new things, and I met new people, and I enjoyed what I was doing, and I enjoyed the people I was with, then how would I feel in that situation?
Mm. Mm. Okay.
Very happy, probably.
Yeah. Yeah. And probably a lot more content, I guess.
Yeah. But then what happens if you tried something and you found rejection in that space? Then how would that make us feel? And as hard as it is to look those emotions in the face, what happens when we prepare ourselves for both negative and positive experiences is we have an outcome on both ways.
Nice.
For example, let's say we went out, we met a new friend and they wanted to go hiking. We went hiking, we had a lovely time, we laughed, we had fun. But this person didn't want to see me again. It would hurt. It would. Then I
Yeah.
would feel sad. But I'd also appreciate the experience of meeting a new person, of going out, of getting out into a hike. It's okay that I wasn't accepted. I accept myself. This is not my person. I'm going to have another experience with a different person and enjoy it until
Sure.
I find those people that are going to do these experiences with me and walk with me. It doesn't mean that
Mm.
it was a bad experience altogether. It was just a miss. But I got to
Mm.
get a certain number of misses before I have a hit. There's a lot of people
Yeah.
in this world, and you're amazing. Okay? You got to meet them. You got to put yourself out there, and you got to be allowing yourself to be slightly open to rejection. As hard as it is, we've got to get you stronger so that you can have something go, so that
Nice.
when it pings you, you don't fall down. Because unfortunately, now you take it so personally because you feel this person is disliking you because you're not good enough. And that's not the case. That person has their own thoughts and patterns and the way that they can move. It just didn't gel with you. It's nothing to do with your personality. It's more to do with them. And you are missing a bus in that case because you're not
Mm.
wasting your time, you're not wasting your energy, and you're not allowing yourself to be hurt, but you're still experiencing a good experience with someone, an interaction, and you move
Mm.
on. As long as you are able to put it on your back and carry on, you can decide how much that person is allowed to affect you.
Mm. I actually really needed to hear that. Like that's specific. Like it's really very applicable to
Expand on
Me.
why that feels that it's something you need to hear.
I recently discovered something about myself that I probably have been doing for a while, but I think only recently have I been sort of mindful enough to notice that I do it. And basically, there was sort of a romantic interest that I had that I'd met, and we had been talking. And this really it took I took such a blow to my self-esteem with this, and I was trying not to, but I couldn't help but feel this way. And basically, we started talking, and then we're talking, and then he kind of ghosted me, and I didn't take it personally. I was just like, okay, you know what? We never met, so there's no reason for you to continue talking to me, and I just let it go. But then he came back, and he was very forceful in his approach coming back. He really wanted to see me and take this seriously and give him like another chance. And I'm quite a softie, and I really appreciate when people kind of put themselves out there and sort of say, I'm sorry, and can I try again? And I'll be like, of course, let's try again. So we started going on dates. And we're going on dates, and then connection got deeper. We ended up being like intimate with each other and stuff. And it's not something that I do very easily, but I think this person really, I felt very connected with this person, and we sort of just ended up
You're
going
a
there.
human being, you have feelings,
And
you have emotions, you have needs.
yeah.
Yeah.
And I think in some ways I'm normally very protective over myself, and I'm sort of like, no, only once we reach this stage it's gonna happen,
Mhm.
and then this and that. But I think I couldn't avoid it. I was very connected with this person. And then things just started happening one after the other where he'd pull back, then I'd pull back, then he'd pull back, then I'd pull back, and then he'll come back when I pull back, but then I'll come back and then he'll pull back. And it was just sort of like this game that we were playing, you know. And
Mm.
I realized that I started doing things to force the connection to continue when I
Mm.
had realized that I knew it was over. And I don't think that it was specifically because we kind of did something and it just ended, because we continued to see each other a few times after that, but it just sort of fizzled out.
Mm.
And I knew this person and I were not aligned anymore. I actually felt that connection was just gone. So
Mm.
obviously that alignment, sort of the energy or whatever, I think he was also going through some other stuff, and we just sort of we were missing the whole time. It just wasn't like working. We'll
Mm.
also encounter issues, and he just pulled back. He literally just cut me off
Mm.
completely at some point. And it hurt me so badly. I think also just given like the history now that had happened, you know, now I felt like even worse. And it took me, I think even today I was still kind of, and I think that's why I was having such a bad day, because I tried to go on dates with other people to sort of get over it and meet new people. And then those people were like so like scary that I actually
Mm.
still wanted this person even more. Like you'll just want to run back. And it's not that those people were bad people, but I think they were just they would not make me feel safe, you
Mm.
know. So I want to run back to this person. And I had to realize that it's not a personal thing. It's not because I wasn't good enough. It's just that maybe that was just not my person, or that was my person for that time. And we were meant to be in each other's lives for that time. And it was really significant when you said, I can just enjoy the experience. It happened, and just be like, okay, and it's okay now. It's over now.
Mm.
And
Mm.
sort of I can have an experience with the right person or the next, and you'd have to have so many amounts of misses to get the right one.
That's
So
it. And remember that
yeah.
whenever we meet a friendship or a new relationship of any kind, somebody walks in with their backpack of baggage too.
Mm.
So
Mm.
immediately I can tell that this person seems to be somebody for some reason on his baggage that only wanted attention when he wasn't getting it.
Yeah, it was like that. Like, so it came to a point where I used to purposely remove my profile picture so that he couldn't see it, and not reply to him, put my read receipts off, because that's the only time that he'd actually get excited to come back. Because he responded to like no contact sort of situation. And that was very unhealthy, because I'm a very loving person. Now I had to be withdrawn on purpose to get
Mm.
him.
But and
So,
unfortunately it was playing into your idea of I need to be somebody else to get love.
mm,
And he
mm,
had this thing of I need to be ignored to get love. And so both your monsters were fighting with each other. The best
mm.
versions of yourself came and met and enjoyed each other, but both your monsters were actually fighting against each other in that relationship, just as an opinion of mine.
It does actually seem like that. And it did feel like it was almost like we were sort of bringing out our like deep-seated issues, because we were triggering each other like on the daily.
Yeah.
and it just there was never peace there, which was crazy. But it he actually in a way was sort of that whole thing was a catalyst for me starting all my introspection
Mm.
because that relationship triggered so much that
Yeah.
I had no choice but to sit and think. I had to
You
just
see,
start thinking.
souls will travel together, and we will meet some souls again in this life that we've met in a last life that are literally here just to trigger us. And there was clearly a connection between you two, but you both have a lot of things to work with before that could have been a healthy relationship.
Mm,
But all
yeah.
you can do as a person is work on yourself. Work on yourself and try and find someone that can accept you and love you for who you are, and let somebody work on themselves and accept you as a partner for who you are, and try not to change you and you try not to change them, because yeah, it's just like I say, we've all walk in with our own baggage, and your baggage as well has to meet as well as the love side.
Yeah. Yeah, so that's why it was just so significant. You've been hitting things on the nail here, which is like it's such a good sign. Like it's
Good. That's good. I think it's a good thing. So we just to let you know, this is going to drop off just now. So if we
okay.
do, I'll maybe restart if we haven't finished, but just so we can recap a little bit. So we've spoken about the journaling, which is going to bring in that skill of consistency and also help you with a little bit of self-love and self-compassion, and also looking at acceptance. Acceptance is a big thing. Acceptance of the fact that you were bullied, that you were mistreated. You were, and that is horrible. But you can choose now to accept that and not be a victim of those previous experiences. You can stand up and let it make you the strongest version of yourself. Because diamonds are only forged under pressure. Otherwise, you're just a lump of coal, babe. Okay. So we're going to journal. We're going to find consistency. And we're going to try and find out what is important to Soraya, exploring different passions and mapping out where we currently are and where we want to be. We're going to do this through that gratitude journal, learning what you want and learning some self-love techniques. So first, we're going to work with Soraya, and then we're going to work with Soraya's friends, family, and supportive system, seeing how we can create more space, because you mentioned that you felt claustrophobic in your current community.
Mm.
So seeing how we can create more space in that mental and physical support system in your life. Does that sound good?
Yes, it does. I'm very excited. I really am.
I think you've done a great job. This was a very deep session. You've offered yourself forgiveness to start. Even though you don't have to, you don't deserve, you didn't do anything wrong. But in your mind, you have started to forgive yourself for all these people not accepting you, for all these people thinking you're not good enough, and starting to say, I'm the judge of that. I forgive the past discretions of what I may or may not have done. I forgive the past discretions of those people that were here to challenge me. And I'm going to grow. And I'm not going to do it in a day, not a week. I'm going to grow every day to the best of my ability for that day. And I'm going to accept that that is enough. I'm going to find self-love with touch, with your feet. Connect and accept and forgive and love yourself again. Okay. And
Thank
that
you.
beautiful
Thank you
smile.
so
And I
much.
just want to see more of that beautiful smile. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to kind of come with those goals, and I'm going to send you the journaling sheet, and we're going to start working on these things. And then none of this stuff is expected to be done, or, there's a deadline for next week. If you can do at least one journal, maybe two for the week, We can see how we
Mm,
can maybe do a little more next week, finding where our
mm.
consistency currently is. So that's using our SMART goal system again, measuring, time-based, specific, and relevant to our life.
Okay,
Okay, so I'm going to put that
cool.
all into a little sheet for you. And then eventually I would like to, as we move through this course over the 6 weeks, we're going to work on your values as a person and healing a little bit of that inner child trauma. So accepting and loving that little girl that needs you, that's still there inside of you. Okay. So is there anything else
Yeah,
that
they.
you would like to add before we toddle off?
No, no. I think it's good. Like I'm very happy with how this session went, and I'm feeling a lot more calm, a lot more calm.
Amazing.
But I'm good.
Nerves. You know what?
Yeah.
I feel it because I also perform in a way where like I have to be in front of people. Not
Mm,
as
mm,
hectic as this, but I do know that sort of like nervous because you're worried you're not gonna like do something right type of thing. So
mm,
from my experience, like the nerves are good because they make you perform well. But if you allow them to like be too much, then it can kind of like topple over. So
mm,
it's kind of cool to ride it and just be like, you know what, I know I can do my best and I do have this because I'm meant to be here and this is mine
mm.
and I'm just stepping into it, you know.
Right, right. Okay, cool.
And that flow, like just accepting, like the universe gave this opportunity as a gift for you, and winning and like losing aside, I think like just experiencing it to its most and actually just enjoying it and having fun, like that's the memory you want to
Mm,
keep, you know.
mm. No, that's true. I think I when I went into this, I started off feeling like, I'm just gonna do this to have fun. I just wanna experience it. I wanna try it. And then I got so wrapped up in the whole thing that I started like focusing mainly on, okay, I gotta win this now. I gotta take home the crown. I can't lose. And then like 2 days ago, I was feeling like really overwhelmed. Like I think I was trying to get really stressed out. And then my mom and I were talking, and my mom was saying, just enjoy it as well. Like just enjoy the experience of doing it, you know? And then I was like, oh wait, yeah, that's why I entered this in the first place. It was more just for the experience. It wasn't so
Yeah.
much with like the intention of I must win. I
Yeah.
wasn't giving myself that sort of pressure, you know? I
Mm.
was more like, I must have fun. I must like do something for this year where I was like, oh yeah, I did that and I had like a lot of fun, you know?
Yeah.
So it was nice to remind myself of why I started because now I'm feeling like a lot better, you know.
Yeah. But it's natural. It's natural to be nervous because it means something to you.
Mm, mm.
So it's
Yeah, I
okay.
think as time went, it started to mean something to me, and
Yeah,
that's
and
why I
then
was
you're like,
getting like,
oh, okay,
yeah,
this could be mine, you know, and then you
yeah,
really do attach to that idea and that visualization, then that's fun. Like it's
mm,
important that we believe in ourselves, you know, we here to
mm,
support ourselves. So we've got to believe we can win and we've got to put in our best foot forward, you know. But it's just this idea of like, how can you do that, but at the same time, just really juice the most out of that lemon of like the actual
yeah,
content, you know, and the people and yeah, just the experience.
yeah, yeah. I think it's also been such a nice journey because in this time, I've learned so much through you as well through our sessions, like being able to talk and stuff, but also learned a lot about like people and how much people are willing to also help. Like I think when we started these sessions, I was like quite scared of people and feeling quite negative towards people, and I felt like people weren't supportive and things. And yeah, there are still those people. We're not saying that they don't exist altogether, but a lot of people have surprised me. Like I was like, okay, I'm not an island. I actually do have the support of quite a lot of people, and I'm very surprised. And then I started realizing that um the more I started to support myself and believing in myself, then the more that like sort of reflected outwards, and people were like, okay, we want to help you, like we want to do these things, you know.
It's
So it was quite
beautiful. It's
nice.
such a beautiful recognition. And it's actually on point because I was going to bring up this idea of positive consequences. And that is like where we start noticing these types of things that, oh, like that actually worked out because I trusted and I tried, and it's a positive
Mm,
thing, you know. So it's actually
mm,
amazing that you've brought that up because you are starting to notice the positive consequences of your actions, you know.
yeah. Yeah, so very nervous, but also very excited. And everything is sort of all together now. It's all going well. It's just a matter of now going there and doing it, you know.
Yeah, it's like when we climb up the stairs and then we get to the slide and then you just actually have to enjoy the ride, you know.
Yeah.
Oh, that's awesome. And how have things been going at the parlor? Have you managed to get in there this
There
week?
was nothing, there was nothing thereafter. We haven't had anything. I think the guy, he's also quite unwell because he
Yes.
has like that muscle condition. So I think he's been a bit like unwell, so he's not really going in at certain times. But when he was going in, I was a bit busy, so it was like really difficult to like sort of juggle that, given that I also have the pageant happening.
Yeah, yeah.
Um, so probably after the pageant, we'll just like start like solid,
Yeah. And that's also like closer to December, the festive time, and that's sort of when he was hoping to retain you for
get
more
me,
clients. Yeah.
yeah. Yeah, so hopefully that goes better. But I've still been drawing, as you saw. I sent you
I
like
saw, thank
pictures.
you. Yeah, I love it's so cute. I love that I love sandwiches as well. So I
Oh
I
yeah, no.
I'm a starch girl all the way. I'm terrible.
Mm,
I could
no,
have chips
yeah.
and chips on bread with like
Oof, yeah. But
some
that's
sort
tasty.
I
Yeah,
know, right?
that's very
It's
tasty.
not
Oh,
really
now I feel like I want
but
that.
I'm just saying like I have the ability. I really do. I'm such a starch girl.
I'm thinking about it now and I'm like, oh, I should make one. I should go have one.
Uh,
Oh gosh, but yeah.
Jinx.
So I do have to be honest with you about something. You're gonna
Tell
be so
me.
upset.
No,
I haven't done the somatic movements.
no, that's okay, darling. That's okay. Please don't
I
stress.
was like, I was coming home from gym today and I was like, do I have everything in order for the session today for the final session? Yeah. Wait. And I was like, oh, I haven't started doing this. And I'm like, okay, I'm gonna have to tell you because it's not like something where I can just do it once today and say that it's something good or yeah, it's nice. Like it's something I would have had to have done over a few days. So I was like, okay, I'm gonna have to just
And there's also maybe a reason, you know, there's
like,
always a reason. Like sometimes we put things in front of things we want to do or have to do because we're not sure about it or we're not ready for it, you know, and that's okay. Like you have to
mhm,
trust your intuition. Like if you weren't really pulled to just go ahead and try it and the week went by and it didn't come up for you, then maybe it's just not meant for right now.
mhm, okay. I'm so
You-
sorry. Oh my
No,
gosh.
it's okay. But you have this idea that there is somatic movements when you are ready. When you are
Mm,
wanting to go down there, you have that information. It's really not, I'm not here at all to force anything on you. It's more about showing you that these things are available. And then
mm,
you've got to flow with it, you know. If it's not flowing with you right now, like it's not like with the sauna and, you know, the showers, that's working for you. It's working for
mm.
your lifestyle, you know.
Yeah, yeah. No, it's working like a lot, like it really is.
Yeah, no, that's awesome.
Yeah.
So, you know, I think that maybe I'll send you a little bit more about what is somatic movement, you know, and maybe
Okay.
it'll interest you a bit more to, if you know a bit more what it is as opposed to just jumping straight into it, you know?
Mm, okay. Yeah. I would like to learn more about it because then I was also thinking today, I don't even know what it is. So how am I gonna talk to you about it? Like if I had to just talk about it,
And
So
remember, this is a very accepting space, so there's no pushing, and it's also brings up this idea that I want to talk to you about, which is, you know, you're going to be going forward into a self coach mechanism coming now. And you don't want the reaction, how you expected me to react, to be the reaction that you give yourself.
okay.
You want the reaction to be accepting and understanding. because there's always a reason behind something. Even if we don't see it straight away, there is always a reason why we are putting our heels up or why are we battling with that one thing, you know?
Mm, mm, okay. Yeah, I think that's another thing now I'm gonna have to learn to like sort of shift that the way that I look at
Yeah.
certain things.
But it's okay because today I want to talk to you about different mind skills and communication skills that you can apply so that your relationships and your experiences outside of this coaching can grow as well throughout different areas of your life.
Okay.
Okay,
Okay,
cool.
cool. All right.
But I just wanted to, before we dive into that, I just wanted to know if there was anything that came up for you this week and how the week went.
The week's been really good. It's been really good. Like I said, nervousness, but talking myself through it and, doing like the sauna stuff because I was feeling a bit down here and there, but found ways to like work through that. Um, Eating has been pretty okay as well. I haven't really like binge like since we had that on eating, I've been okay.
Nice. And I
Um,
know you were worried about that because of your dress as well. So well done.
yeah, no, it's all good. Everything is good. Yeah, I think everything is was good this week. It was quite a like there were ups and downs when I came back from it. Like I didn't like let it ruin me or take over,
Yeah.
any position.
That's
Yeah.
amazing. That's amazing. And how are things with your dad?
Oh, it's good. It's going good. I didn't stay last weekend. I think it was last weekend. I didn't stay, and I'm obviously not going to stay this weekend because of the pageant. He
You're
still
coming
doesn't
from
know.
pageant.
He doesn't know that I'm doing the pageant.
Oh, okay.
I never told him from the beginning because obviously we weren't in a good space in the beginning. And then I feel like even though things are better now, I'm still not ready for his reaction if it's negative at this point. Like, I still feel like if I had to tell him, we're not really, we haven't made enough progress yet for me to get like an accepting sort of answer from him because I do know that he can say some nasty things when people like
Mm,
sort of put themselves out there, or
yeah.
he'll try and say things that'll make you sort of not want to do it or to discourage you. So as much as we are like doing a lot better, I do feel like there is still a lot more work to do before we come to the point where he's not going to do that thing. And at this point, I don't think I'm ready to hear like the things that I know he can say,
Mm.
he could potentially say. I feel like right now I don't need to be like discouraged. I'm gonna end up feeling like really bad. Or he does have these things where he'll pick on like sort of he'll make you develop an insecurity that was never there before, which is like something that I don't want right now. But we okay. I did end up reconnecting with his sister, my auntie, who's in Canada. Um, so I'm trying to like, get a more like well-rounded sort of connection developed with him and his family because I don't know his family. He sort of kept me from them. I think that some of them probably don't even know that he has a child because I know that some people like his clients that he's had a very personal relationship with, like very personal, that he's known from before I was born. They see me now with him in the mall, and they'd be like, "Oh, we didn't even know that you were married. We didn't even know that you had a child." So there's like he keeps himself away from his family even more so. So there are some people that I think don't even know, sort of that I'm
And
around.
do you think that, sorry to interrupt you, just to ask, do you think that that's more coming from him being a guarded individual, just a private individual, or do you feel it's from a different source or direction?
If I'm being completely honest, he is a little guarded, but not when it comes to like himself. Like he is close with his family still, like in terms of if they're around or if they come and visit, he'll go and talk to them. But if they're around and they come and visit, he will make sure that I don't come around during that time.
So
So it's like
in a way
he
you
can be
feel,
there.
yeah.
Yeah, and he did that with my mom as well. Like apparently like when they were married back in the day when they'd have like Christmas dinners, he would just go and he'll leave us like in Chatsworth. Like he wouldn't take my mom with and stuff. So like and with the like he'd say things like, "Oh, it's for the family," and my mom used to be like, "But who's the family? Because we are your family, like
Mhm.
we, your wife and child, you know." So I've been trying to now develop the connection with some of his family, the ones that I know. So
Mm.
like my auntie that's in Canada, I have her number. I took her number the last time that she was here. Thankfully, my granny, his mom,
Yeah, yeah.
she when I stayed the last time, she invited over niece, her niece, yeah, and her niece's husband. So yeah, the two of them came over when I was staying there. And she was like, "Come downstairs. I want you to meet people." And then I went there, and then there they were, and I've never seen these people before. And she was like, "This is your family, you know."
Sweet.
And she's like my little bestie, but she's like an annoying little sister, you know, like she irritates me so much, but I love her so much.
Oh, that's so sweet. Those relationships are so important too. And I think animals teach us that like acceptance. And when we are so
Mm,
accepted by them, it helps us to accept ourselves a little more as well, you know.
yeah, that's true. I think in many ways she reflects my own personality. And it's funny because the traits that she does, like that she has that irritates me is stuff that I'm like, huh, I do that a lot too.
I recognize that.
Yeah, I'm like, huh. Even like with her eating, like she's a comfort eater. Like she can eat so much. And then like I'll be telling her, I'll be like, Kalika, you don't need to eat again, relax. And then my mom will be like, but if we tell you that you'll get angry. And then I'm like, so yeah.
Like our pets and our children, they are mirrors, you know.
That's true. That's very true, actually. It's
Yeah.
something I'm noticing. Like even with like my friends, my one friend, she has a kid, and it's like a small reflection of herself,
Mhm.
and she'll see these little personality traits, and she'll be like, "That is so bad. You shouldn't be doing that." I'll just be keeping quiet because I'm like, "You are exactly the same. I hope you know this." You know?
Yeah, but it's interesting because, you know, when we first started our sessions, one of the self-coaching techniques that you had actually already acquired was that parenting yourself, you know, and seeing that from a third person perspective. So it's interesting to end off where we speak about how children are mirrors because in a way you were using yourself and your behavior as your own mirror reflecting back to you and what you wanted and how you wanted people to treat you, you know.
Wow, that's actually so cool how we actually realize that we've come like full circle and we're back at that point. That's like really nice, actually.
We're back, but we're so far forward as well. That's the beautiful thing.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah.
So
So yes, we were talking about
we were
not
talking,
being heard.
yeah, not being heard and how that's could be a trigger for you. So, you know, in the self-coaching going forward, recognizing that you've been triggered is a big skill to have. And sometimes we can only recognize that after we've reacted to the trigger. Sometimes we can not react or not even respond and sort of take that trigger and leave the situation. That I think is quite a nice one going forward if you are able to do that, you know. Obviously, if you feel you need to speak your mind, it's also important that you don't shut yourself down after you've been triggered and just walk away, you know, being subtle. So there's a gauge there.
Right. No, I hear what you're saying. Yeah, and that's obviously over time I'm gonna figure out sort of how to, yeah.
Yeah. So I wanted to talk about some of the skills that you're going to use to work when those triggers come up and to work with the self-coaching going forward. Obviously, we are
Okay.
still going to be chatting like we've discussed, but this is really important life skills for you as we co-coach with each other, you know.
Mm, okay. Okay,
Okay.
cool.
So obviously we've been implying and implementing self-speak. And
Mm,
the idea of coping self-speak is quite important because like you spoke about this week, you had ups and downs, and I can already see that you've implemented your coping mechanisms like your sauna and your shower. And I'm sure that you had some coping self-speak like, it's okay, I'm gonna be okay, you're okay, calm down, we're gonna get through this. Those
Mm.
types of examples.
Yeah, no, definitely. I do. There are like a few phrases like that, like it's okay, or it's not, it's just a bad day, it's not a bad life. Like I keep telling myself that, and like, or like, one that my mom always says that I've now taken as my like one of my mottos as well, which is actually what I'm going to be saying as my life motto on stage tomorrow,
Okay.
is this too shall pass.
I was literally gonna say my favorite is this too shall pass.
It's such a good one. It's
Yeah.
such a good one. And it's always like sort of reminding that we should just live in the moment, in the present moment. So like right now, whatever we're feeling, it's gonna pass, it's fine. But also in this moment, there isn't really anything that's really wrong. Like we're okay. Like I'm alive, I'm standing here. There's an issue that's external that's happening and it's freaking me out. But in this moment, I'm not gonna get this moment again. Everything's gonna pass. So I'll just let it flow. Like I'm just gonna let whatever needs to happen and feel it. Not no one's saying don't feel it, but just let it pass. And
It's
so
exactly,
yeah.
it can mean it on both ways. This too shall pass when you're sitting there gripping, like, oh, I gotta get through this. It's gonna pass,
Mm.
But there's also, I'm enjoying this moment so much, and this too shall pass. So have
Yeah.
gratitude for that
Yeah.
present moment. So 100% on the money.
Yeah. So
Are
it's
you
true.
doing,
And
you're
and
gonna
I
be
was
coaching soon, I think, eh?
oh no, I don't think I'll be as good as you, Vinka. I promise you, I've been ranting and raving about our sessions to literally everyone that I meet now. I'm like, if they compliment something like, oh wow, you communicate so well, because I have had a few of those compliments recently from people that I've met. And I was like, thanks. I'm actually doing these life coaching sessions with a friend of mine, and it's been helping me. It's like really good.
It's you, my love. It really is your ability and how you are. You've just really you've thrown those inhibitions that were shackling you down for so long, and I honestly couldn't be prouder. Because it was like your body was waiting, your mind was waiting, your emotions were waiting to be released. And
Mm.
yes, I did give you that idea that it's okay and it's all right, but really you stepped out. I could open that door at any time. It was your choice to take that step out and take that next step forward and then keep running with it, just as you
Mm.
will.
Oh, it's true.
And I'd like to acknowledge, one thing before I carry on. You said something that stuck out to me, which was that you felt you were only going to tell your father you had been in the pageant once you'd been successful, winning.
Yeah.
But I would just like for you to acknowledge, because I feel like this self-coaching is also you going to be acknowledging yourself, because we've picked up that acknowledgement is something that you need. I'd like for you to, in this moment, acknowledge that being a finalist is a big deal, that is a win in its own right.
That's true. Yeah.
You've done great.
Thank you.
You really have. You're doing a great job. You've already won so much, and in terms of how you've pushed forward and overcome a lot of these obstacles, that is a huge win as well. And I acknowledge that in you.
Thank you. I'm feeling emotional now. Eyes are getting.
It's okay. Okay. You sometimes when your throat because you felt you were being shut down when you talked to your mom and you couldn't even get that out. Let it be, your hummingbird. If it comes up, you can gently caress. If you're feeling emotional, just touch yourself, just hold yourself. It's okay. Every emotion is okay. It is. Because if it's a bad emotion, you can work with it, you can figure out why it came around. It's showing you. It's a key to the next step. If it's a good emotion, it's beautiful. Explore it, live. That's why we live. Enjoy emotions, enjoy being alive. All is good.
And this too shall pass.
And this too shall pass. Beautiful. You making tears come to my eyes. So, I want you to visualize your potential stresses and your potential successes. So we've talked a lot about visualizing ourselves experiencing what we want and where we want to be. But I also want you, now that you're a bit stronger, to think about the situations that maybe wouldn't be great. Like if you were to speak to your dad and it didn't work out exactly as you wanted it to, how could you better prepare yourself for that reaction?
Mm, mm. Okay.
So we visualize we're not going to get ourselves depressed and get down, but we're going to prepare ourselves for stuff that
Yeah.
might happen. You know, someone might
Mm,
reject us, someone may say the wrong thing. How can we upskill ourselves so that we better prepare for that experience?
It's like yesterday, my stepdad asked me a very real question. Because since I entered the pageant, I've sort of done this like sort of delusional manifesting vibe where I'm just like, oh, when I win this, when I win that, it's gonna happen. And then he was like, okay, just not saying that you're not gonna win, but I'm just asking, how will you feel or how would you react if you don't win or if you come out first runner up or second runner up or third runner up? How are you gonna feel about that? Because you need to prep yourself because if it doesn't happen, I can't be freaking out on stage
Mm,
and like feeling like I want to tear my hair out and then the whole sort of experience becomes negative because I haven't prepped myself for that outcome.
mm,
And I realized that that's sort of something that I need to apply and like you're saying now, and it's so nice. I like the synchronicity because it means I should actually do it. I need to apply that in every aspect because I feel like most of my sort of disappointments in life have come from me sort of being very, very optimistic, but not acknowledging that there can be, and in life there is going to be that
mm,
negative side. Like, I'm not going to get every job that I walk into. Not every friend that I try and make is going to be a lifelong friend.
yeah.
Not every friend I try and make is going to like me off the bat. Not every partner that I have is going to be my husband. And then I end up getting so torn with things not going the way I wanted it to go in my head that I shut off. I'll just sit in my room, don't want to leave, scared,
Mm,
can't manage. People are evil, I can't handle. Whereas I could have actually just been like, hey, this is a possible outcome. There's always going to be two outcomes, the positive and the negative. And you have to just not be, I have to remain neutral, basically. I have to
yeah.
remain neutral, but still be happy.
Yes. So
Yeah.
and realize that life is long and broad. And sometimes when
Mm,
we are very, caught up in a situation, it seems like that's everything. But there will be
yeah.
more opportunities, there will be more
Mm,
chances. And I think it's really important to just not narrow that thinking to thinking that winning this pageant is the only chance that you have,
mm,
to win a pageant or to have this experience. There will be other
yeah.
opportunities. And just making the most out of this one is just going to make it the best experience that you've had, for this
Mm,
or can have from,
yeah.
yeah.
And even with the like feeling of being rejected, like if I don't win, like I'm also learning that rejection is actually a really good thing because it's sort of like your character development as well. Because it's sort of like, okay, I tried my best, but there's been like, and my mom brought it up, and that's why I'm constantly trying to remind myself of it. Since I've started this journey, there's been so many blessings. This the life coaching being one of the main blessings that I've had that have come about through this whole journey. Um, being like where I thought, where am I going to get money for a dress? And then all of a sudden, someone just phones me, someone that I haven't spoken to in like the longest time, being like, hey, I saw you doing this thing. Can I give you some money to go towards the stuff that you need? People that I've never spoken to in years. So there's been so many like little blessings and big wins and small wins and like on this entire journey of literally 6 weeks. It's been like 6 weeks. And I if I lose, it's fine. It's okay because I've seen this task through right to the end. And
Mm,
that's like a very big win for me. Because
commitment.
normally when things get difficult, I'll get scared and run away.
And not
I've
only
seen
you've
it
seen
through.
it, but how you've seen it through. That mentality has been so bright and constant.
Yeah. Yeah. I've kept a very like optimistic mindset even when things were getting difficult, but also still learning from the negatives that were happening. I was acknowledging that it's going on. And then also like taking it with a pinch of salt, because now it's like it's just a redirection. It doesn't necessarily mean it's the end of the road. It's just like, okay, this thing didn't work. Maybe it's not meant for me. Maybe I have to try a different avenue, and it's not like not everything is for me, so it's not a bad thing.
Yeah, and and
Yeah.
and did you still get an experience out of it? Because maybe it wasn't for you in the long run, but it doesn't mean you didn't get to try,
Mm.
and have an enjoyment of that experience. And that's
Yeah. And
really
I've
the
made a few friends through this thing as well, which was really nice. Yeah.
it's beautiful.
So,
I'm really proud of you. I think you've done such a great job, and I really think you have, a lot of skills to go forward, just be realistic about your expectations, visualize your success, love yourself, self-love in terms of those affirmations, those massages, all of that
mm,
stuff that we've gone t in touch with yourself with your journaling, and just
mm,
keep honoring your journey and don't judge yourself because remember that you've had a lot of that. You can just be kind to yourself and just measure your goals, but in a realistic, kind way.
mm, mm. Yeah, I think that term realistic, like definitely. I think when we had to do that goal plotting on the timeline and
Mm,
stuff, and you said like realistic goals, and I had to sit down and be very realistic with myself because I think when I was like in high school, I'd set unrealistic goals for myself. Unrealistic meaning it wasn't unattainable.